Hey everyone, I'm Brent Barnett with Gibraltar Hardware, and welcome to Brent's Hang. You know, I've built a lot of racks over the last few years, and I've discovered some ways of making my process easier, and I want to let you in on that. One of the most irritating things in using curved bars when building racks is getting the rack level. Now, I always start in building the front section of the rack first because the front section is your foundation. If your foundation is not level, your rack is not going to be level, and you're going to lose all your stability. The most important tool that I use when I build racks is a level. And you'll find that the more you build racks, that a level will be one of your best friends that you could ever use when building racks. But I use a method that I call three-way leveling. And what that is I measure it once in the center, and then I measure it once at each end. And the reason I measure it on both ends is because just because the bar is level in the center does not mean that it's level on both ends. I'll show you. If this bar is bowed up a little bit, or even bowed out a little bit, it'll still show that it's level. But as you can see, the legs are nowhere close to being straight up and down. Your legs are all concaved, your bars are going to be thrown off at awkward angles, your stability disappears. So you take this level and throw it over here, shows that I'm way off center. So by using three-way leveling, I can actually accurately make this curved bar like it's laying on a flat plane, invisible flat plane on the ground. That's level, which I know from this being level and this being level and this being level, the leg is going to be perfectly level vertically as well. So let's talk about height. You may look at this and go, I don't want to play my crossbar that high. I want it mounted right over my bass drum. Well, what I like to do is I like to start off with the clamps on each leg flush to the top of the leg. This gives me the exact same height for each clamp. Then I can establish the positioning of the crossbar. And once I know the crossbar is completely level and locked into position, I can then start establishing the height. And as long as the center level remains level, I know that the clamps are going to be the exact same height on either side because the relationship stays the same. So now let's add the side extension. We already know that our foundation is level and it's solid. We know that this leg is level and solid. Side extension's easy. Add the curved bar onto the existing leg, and then take your level, and this is what I like to do. I like to just level out that one end. And once I see that this end, the exposed end, is level, I know that the entire bar is level. Now it's time to add the other leg onto it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this clamp and this leg to this bar. And there you have a side extension. Here's a really annoying thing that happens. You have your rack all set up at home, you get everything locked into position, you give it memory locked, which I don't have here, so don't follow my lead on this. But you have it memory locked, you get to your gig, you set it up on the drum riser, and this happens. It's all wobbly, and you're like, what the hell? I just spent 2 hours at home setting this up. What happened? Well, what happened is that the surface that you built the rack on at home was different than what you're setting it up on now. So you've got an uneven surface compared to where you originally built the rack. So, and that can be a little bit irritating. So a really easy fix for this is go over to a couple bars, couple clamps, and just loosen them a little bit. You know, loosen the memory locks just a tad bit. You don't want everything to slip and fall, but just loosen it a little bit and allow the bars to settle. Start with one and allow it to settle until the foot hits the ground and all the feet are flat on the floor and they don't rock. For those of you custom rack builders out there, this is a cool little tip that'll help you out. You know, we have a pole. We want to mount a boom arm inside the pole. We want to mount a tom arm inside the pole or whatever it may be. But trying to get this end cap off can be a big pain in the ass. You try using pliers, you use a flathead screwdriver, and all you do is just damage the end cap. Well, I figured this out one day when I was trying to remove a rack foot off of a T-leg assembly. Just take the rack foot, put it over the end of the tube, and just peel it right off. Okay, so I have a pipe. It's a short pipe. Don't make fun. But I need to cut it. It needs to be a little bit shorter than what it is. So I've got a pipe cutter here. This is the SCP cut, and I'm going to cut it myself. It's very easy. It'll take about 30 seconds to do. But what I'm going to do is attach the pipe cutter to the pipe, and I am going to press on the ratchet mechanism, which slides right up very easily. And there's a tension wheel right here that adds tension to the blade. And it creates the clamping mechanism right here that the blade actually starts to cut into the tube. So you slowly go around the tube, but you want to make sure that you're going straight around the tube. Otherwise, you're going to get a spiral effect, and the blade is not going to stay on the same track. You slowly add more and more tension after each revolution. And then eventually, you've got 2 pipes out of 1. Okay, so now I cut my pipe, and I want to clean it up. I want to put the end cap back on. But if you notice, you've been putting so much pressure on the circumference of this pipe that it's bent the pipe in as you cut it. So in order to put the end cap back on, you have to create the same size diameter that it was before you took the end cap off. So just take a file and just file the inside down. Once it's complete, the end cap will slide right back on. Well, that's it for today's show. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, because we want you guys to be up to date with everything that we're talking about and that we're doing. I just showed you some of the cool things that I like to do when I build racks and stuff that helps me. I'm sure you've got some really cool ideas too, so I would definitely love to hear about them if you do.